Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're keeping well and keeping safe. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Katie. Now today's video is about International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Now if you want to hear what I've got to say about it, then do keep on watching. Now if you've been watching my videos from the start of this channel, which was earlier this year, you'll hopefully know that I've been disabled since birth, so I've not known anything different, and I am proud to be a disabled person because it's literally shaped me to be the person that I am today. While it's not always great, it's not always positive, there are a lot of dark and lonely and isolated days, there are a few positives, like the opportunities that can come your way that able-bodied people may not get, and you'll learn a lot about people in a way that you wouldn't if you're an able-bodied person, and about yourself as well. You learn how strong you are. You have to be a disabled person, I think, because an able-bodied person would not be able to cope with what we go through on a daily basis. So I'm going to hit you with a few facts now. Today, the world population is over 7 billion people, and more than 1 billion people, or approximately 50% of the world's population, live with some form of disability. 80% of those live in developing countries. So we're not really a minority. There's so many of us out there, yet we are treated like we're the minority. Even to this day, we're still having access issues, inclusivity issues, and just fairness, really, and equality. Yes, it has improved, and it's improved a lot since I was a kid. When I was growing up, I was pitied a lot, I would get patronised, and I did often get left out, because it wasn't the things that there were today for people like myself. But today, I think the main issue is the attitude of people towards disabled people. We're not a burden. We are contributing to the society in our own ways. Like, I'm teaching you all what it's like to live with this disease. Hopefully you're enjoying learning from my own experiences, and I'm just one person. There's so many other people out there who all contribute in their own ways. No, we are capable of having relationships and being successful. No, successful is not always about career. It's about having everything that you desired in life, like being happy in your own home, your own pet, and being as healthy as possible, being able to drive, go to places where you want to go. I think many disabled people are probably more appreciative of the smaller things. I know I am. Every day I'm so thankful that I have my family around me. I can do my awareness work, I can play with my makeup, I can do online courses. They're all the things that make me me and make me feel successful and feel like I'm contributing to the world. Now, the International Day of Persons with Disabilities started in 1992 by the United Nations General Resolution 47/3. It aims to promote the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities in all spheres of society and development, and to increase awareness of the situation of persons with disabilities in every aspect of political, social, economic, and cultural life. Now, the theme for this year's day is leadership and participation of persons with disabilities towards an inclusive, accessible, and sustainable post-COVID-19 world. I do have a bit of an issue with the terminology. I'd rather it just be International Day of Disabled People, but the majority of disabled people that I know do label themselves as a disabled person, as do I, not a person with disabilities. There is a difference there. I'm sorry for any background noise, it's my cat Pixie. And the difference is that because I define myself as a disabled person, my disability does define me because it affects me every single second of the day, whether I wanted to or not, whether I'm thinking about it subconsciously or not. I am a disabled person. I have so many different health issues that they do affect me all the time, and that's why I class myself as a disabled person, not a person with disabilities. Now, I personally think that they should let disabled people define themselves rather than they defining us. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on the terminology? And also, why just focus on one day of the year? Yes, that is great, especially for new businesses and different things. It's great, it gives them the opportunity to do something, whereas they're probably not able to in any other way. Then that is great and that's positive, and I applaud that. But we need support every single day. We need to be making people aware of our social, political, economic and cultural life every single day, because we are entitled to live just like anybody else, like going to the cinema, going for something to eat, going on a plane, going on a train, going on a bus. People should be thinking about it all the time because we have to. See what I'm saying? So for those who are asking what is disability, well, it's defined differently in different countries, but the best person to ask is a disabled person of what they define themselves as. Now, disability can be physical, it can be mental impairment, so, it can be something that you see, something that you don't see. Disability affects people differently. All shapes and sizes, whether they're in a wheelchair, they're ambulant, they use mobility aids in some way like crutches or sticks or a scooter, or they may be able to walk around. So in the UK, over 11 million people, or around 70% of the population, are disabled. So according to the First World Report on Disability, people with disabilities generally have poorer health, lower education achievements, fewer economic opportunities, and higher rates of poverty than people without disabilities. This is largely due to lack of services available to them and the many obstacles that they face in everyday lives. Now, doesn't go for every single person, but just go for people. People do tend to live in poor conditions because the things that they need, like care and mobility aids and vehicles, it's very, very expensive to be a disabled person. And we do have more expenses going on. Over a third of children missing out on getting an education. Nearly 20 million, can you believe that, have a disability, even though the inclusion of children with disabilities in mainstream education has been shown to be successful. In the UK, disabled people 3 times as likely not to hold any qualifications compared to non-disabled people. I went to mainstream school, nursery, primary, senior school. And then I chose to go to a residential specialist college for 3 years. And then when I came back to my hometown, I went back to mainstream, and very, very different. So I was able to get GCSEs, I've been able to get A levels, and I've even been able to get places at universities. And the thing that made that not happen with the universities is because I couldn't get enough support. So universities really need to step up, I think. But people do go to university, but not enough, and more should be able to go. Because we're capable, we are. Like they've said to me, I'm more than capable academically, it's just the physical needs that are stopping me. Unemployment amongst disabled people is as high as 80% in some countries. Global literacy rate for disabled women may be as low as 1%. 9 out of 10 children with disabilities in developing countries do not even attend school. The obstacles faced by disabled people are mostly felt by the vulnerable groups in society, such as the poor and the elderly. Those living in poverty are also more likely to develop disabilities due to a lack of access to medical treatment. On a global level, 4 out of 5 disabled people live in poor countries. In the UK, the poverty rate amongst disabled adults, 30%, is twice as high as non-disabled adults. Can you believe that? According to the UN Children's Fund, which is UNICEF, children who are poor have a greater chance of becoming disabled through poor healthcare, malnutrition, lack of access to clean water and basic sanitation, dangerous living, and working conditions. Once disabled, they are more likely to be denied basic resources that could help alleviate or prevent deepening poverty. Disability, diversity and development. Many people with disabilities face barriers to participation in their communities and are often faced to live on the margins of society. Now, the degree of this depends on which country they live in and their particular circumstances. For example, in many countries, women and girls can face multiple disadvantages, experiencing discrimination and exclusion on account of their gender, disability, and poverty. Women and girls with disabilities are particularly vulnerable to abuse. A small 2004 survey in Orissa, which is in India, found that virtually all of the women and girls with disabilities were beaten at home, and ignorance and fear of disability has led to 6% of women surveyed being forcibly sterilised and to avoid them having children. Now, whether male or female, an adult or a child, disabled people face stigma and discrimination and are routinely denied basic rights such as food, education, employment, access to health and reproductive health services. There's a strong link between disability and poverty, and both are a cause and consequence of the other, and contribute to increased vulnerability and exclusion. Inclusion helps us all. Disabled people, despite the barriers, contribute to society on a daily basis and in many cases take down barriers as they further everyone's knowledge and understanding of the world. Tanny Gray Thompson, who was born with spina bifida, which is a birth defect in which the spinal cord isn't completely developed, which left her as a wheelchair user, went on to become one of Britain's most successful disabled athletes. During her sporting career, she won 11 gold medals over 5 Paralympic Games and is now a member of the House of Lords. How awesome is that? Incredible. And there are many, many more faces of disabled people that you'll recognise on TV and in music, film. Although not many, it's still very, very undiverse. We're all deserving of equal rights and access and inclusivity. No one should be left out to fend for themselves, to struggle, and to feel left out, being excluded from things. So, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and make sure you give it a thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Thank you for watching. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you all soon. Bye. Bye.